Hello, everyone, and welcome to video number 3 in our series. We've already done the introduction video, done a brief getting to know each other video or getting to know me, and hopefully you have already posted your introduction on the forum. And this third topic for this video is going to be the syllabus. Now, I'm not going to do a complete read through of every page of the syllabus. I'm expecting that you will read it. This is a master's class, and we're going to be talking a little bit later about master's class expectations. So I'm expecting that you have read this syllabus and that you understand all the terms and conditions in it. That's a very legal term. But I see this syllabus as a contract between you and me, and it governs the relationship that we have and sets out all of the policies and procedures that are applicable to the class. It also has, and we'll look at this in a moment, a very detailed class schedule. This class schedule is exactly the same as the weekly Sakai pages that I showed you in the last video. They're just a different version of the same thing. So looking forward, everything we're going to be studying and when we're going to be studying it. It's all prepped out for the entire semester. So you can plan ahead if you need to. For those of you who may need to work ahead because of work obligations or obligations in other classes, it will allow you to do that. Now, I do know that my syllabus is long. It's longer than most. It's, currently 15 pages long. So, but that's what happens when you ask a lawyer to write a syllabus. So it's long, but pretty much everything you need to know about it is in there, about the class is in there. And I'll show you something kind of funny about that in a little while. So again, I can't highlight this more, but please, please, please read the syllabus and make sure that you understand everything that's in it. Invariably, every semester somebody asks me a question or two or three or four that is easily answered in the syllabus. Always happy to answer questions, of course, but it's always it's important for you to read and understand it. It's good practice in the real world because in the real world you're expected to know what the contracts that you sign say. And lastly, the syllabus is, and almost all the documents in this class that you need are in Google Docs, and they are set for sharing that requires you to be logged in with your PLU email address. So you may encounter a document and it'll say you need permission, and if that's the case, double check to make sure that you are logged in with your PLU address. In most cases, it's because you're logged into Chrome or your browser, whatever other browser you use, using a different account. So log into PLU, and then if you still get the question that you need permission, then it means I didn't set the permissions correctly, and that's possible. But first try to log in and using your ePass before you request permission through some other system. Okay. All right. So where do you find the syllabus? Well, like everything in this class, you find it on Sakai. And you do that through this tab over here to the left that says, interestingly enough, it says syllabus. And in there is the link to the Google Doc with the syllabus. And then there is this kind of funny video which I came across. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you because I can play you a couple minutes of it and you'll see the whole thing. But if you go over here to syllabus and you click on this link, it will take you to the syllabus document. I realized that there's this little bit of, I must have had this on when I was typing. So anyway, so here's the syllabus and all of the provisions of it are all here. All right, so let's go back here quickly. The reason I put this in here, I just thought it was kind of funny. I'm just going to show you just a quick clip of it.
Hey, Dr. Childs, good to see you again. Just had a quick question for you. I'm in your math class. I've really been learning a lot in the class. Been very informative. Just had a couple questions for you about the class so I can do my best in your class. How can I help you? So the first question is, When are your office hours? I just happened to see a classmate in the hallway. They told me where your office was. So when are your like official office hours? That's in the syllabus. Okay.
Okay, so you can get the idea. You can watch it. It's pretty funny. It's only 2.5 minutes long, but basically the whole thing is like that. He just keeps asking questions, all of them that are out of the syllabus. So I'm not the only one, clearly, who experiences those questions. But again, you should always feel free to ask questions. The point of this is to make a little bit of fun of it. You check the syllabus first, because most of your questions, I think, will be answered there. Okay. Moving on. So let's talk about really key terms. And I have the syllabus here in front of me, and you may want to print it or have it on another screen while you're watching this to follow along. I'm just going to kind of go through a few items on each page, but I'm not going to read it to you. I just want to highlight a few things. So the first of all is office hours. And the reason I highlight this in particular for you guys is because your class is at night, and many of you I know work during the day. My office hours are mostly they're in the mornings on Mondays and Thursdays. On Tuesdays before class, I'm usually in my office, so if you want to come see me before class. But I know many of you will have the class that's in that earlier time slot before hours. So if you need me and none of these times work, then please contact me and we'll set a time that works. We can talk on the phone. We can set up a Zoom or a Skype call or whatever it is you need. We'll work around that. It's always a little bit tougher for the master students who have the night classes to come in to faculty office hours. Okay, on page 2, you'll see the links to the textbook. Hopefully you already have the Shell textbook. The other textbook for the negotiation segment, we'll talk about this in a little bit, is free and it's online. So we'll go through those in a little bit. Please pay attention to the dates. As far as dropping a class, adding a class, watch out for spring break. It's the week of March 23rd. So make sure you have set your calendar around all those dates. I'm not going to read the mission and objectives to you on page 3. You can see those on your own. On pages 4 to 6, this is where you have the detailed week-by-week content. I'm actually going to bring that up here on the screen. It looks like this. And you'll notice the week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. This content aligns with the weekly content up here. So you see week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. This content, what we're studying each day, is the same as what's in this chart. So this just puts it all in one chart for you. Okay. All right. That's the course content. Okay, the flow of the class, I want to spend just a little bit on this here because I kind of talked about it a little bit already. But basically what we're going to be doing is we are going to break the class into 2 halves, 2 chunks. The first will be from 6 to 7:40, and then that's when we will cover the legal materials, the legal topics, and the legal strategy. So the Shell, it's based mostly on the Shell textbook, plus other legal topics that you'll have to look up for yourself. I'll talk about that a little bit later. And then we'll take a break at 7:40 for 10 minutes, and then from 7:50 to 9:30, we'll deal with the conflict resolution and negotiations. That is also using a free online textbook, and what we'll be doing there is half the time we'll be discussing the material from the reading, and the other half you'll actually be engaged in group negotiation activity that goes on throughout the semester, and it's actually a competition. So that's what we'll be doing there. Then for assignments, I'm not going to read through each one of these. You can look at them on your own. But the way I've structured it is that this class has 1,000 points in it, and that your grade is however many points over 1,000. So if you have 915 points, you'll get a 91.5%. And there's no rounding on that. And a particular note, and it's in here, and it's in the syllabus highlighted in red, but Sakai does not always calculate this perfectly. So if you're looking at Sakai and it says you have an A-, be really careful. Check the points, because it might be that your points are different than that. So it's just something that never works really perfectly clear with Sakai. So it's how many points you have. It's not the letter grade that Sakai says you have. It should be the same, but it might not be. And the determining factor is not the letter grade that Sakai tells you. It is the points. Okay. Let's see. Oh, let me talk here on page 9 about my attendance policy. So this is something new that I'm doing, and I will take attendance every week, but I don't give attendance credit anymore. What I do instead is attendance acts as a cap on your grade. So if, for example, you miss more than 2 classes, the highest grade you can get is a B, regardless of how many points you have. And the reason I've done this is that in a 14-week class, if you miss 2 classes, that's 2 out of 14. That's just too much class to miss, especially in this class, especially since so much of it is going to be active learning and discussion and all of that. So there are, of course, exceptions if you have medical emergencies, or if you know in advance of something that you can't control. I will work with you. But if you just don't show up, it will limit the maximum grade that you can get in the class. You can look at the grade scale on your own. I'm not going to spend time on that on page 10. On page 11, I talked about all the different ways that you can communicate in this class. There's forums, there's email. I'm available on Google Hangouts. I am not available by text message. So my phone, my office phone, I almost never use it. And I don't give out my cell phone number. So if you need to reach me, the way that you reach me is by email. And if I'm awake, I'm usually on email. And then I also, every Sunday, try to send out a newsletter that summarizes the class for the week. So I say try because occasionally, for whatever reason, if I'm out of town or whatever, I can't do it. But for the most part, I send that out every week just to alert you to what's happening in class that week. Preparation attendance, of course, I talked a little bit about attendance. You're expected to prepare. I will expect that you come to class prepared. I will be calling on individual students by name during the discussions, and I will expect that you are prepared to answer the questions. The questions are all posted, so you know what questions I'm going to ask about the material, at least in the legal segment, not so much in the negotiation segment, but you are expected to have read what is assigned and to come to class prepared to discuss it. This class doesn't work unless we are all there prepared, because I'm not going to be lecturing in this class at all. It's going to be 100% discussion and activity based. So it just simply will not work if you don't come prepared. Okay, general class policies, I'm not going to talk about those anymore, and you can read them. The only one I did want to mention is disability support services. If you do have a qualifying disability and need accommodations because of it, you must go through the DSS office. I cannot give disability accommodations on my own without the DSS office's involvement. So it's very important that if you have one of those disabilities, that you go register with DSS and find out whatever accommodations are available to you through them. Okay. All right, I think that's it. Okay, so we did this. This is pretty good. A little under 15 minutes. This should be the longest video of all of them. In the next video, we're going to be talking about the course structure. I can go in a little bit more detail into what we're going to be doing in the first half and in the second half of each class period, as I just described in this video. So thank you for your attention. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks.